share a little bit? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Kyla Williams-Tate. I'm the Director of Digital Equity here at Cook County Government. Again, welcome and thank you for joining us today as we learn a little bit more about Digital Inclusion Week and some opportunities for you to help celebrate Digital Inclusion Week, as we'll be doing some great things during that week this year. So in the chat box, if you will, share your name and your community that you're representing, your organization. And if you're thinking about organizing an event or you have a question, share that as well so that we make sure that we are aware and can answer any questions that you may have. So in the chat box, your name, the community that you represent, your organization, and then what event are you organizing or thinking of organizing for Digital Inclusion Week, or if you have any questions about Digital Inclusion Week. Again, it's good to see so many faces and others. Hi, Dan. We got Blue Island Library representing, Rock Ed, North Riverside Public Library. And others. We'll go ahead and continue with the presentation while folks are sharing. Brookfield Library, Skokie Library, awesome. Jill, am I driving slides or are you driving slides? There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. So our objectives for today, we are going to share an update on the launch of the inaugural Cook County Digital Equity Plan. Super excited about that. We're going to share an overview of National Digital Inclusion Week, powered by the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. And we're going to understand more about how your organization can get involved with Digital Inclusion Week. Our mission, we wanted to have a mission of sorts around our work with digital equity to kind of tie us all together. So our collective mission is to ensure all Cook County residents have access to affordable and quality internet devices and digital learning resources. We are working along a roadmap that is timed because there's plenty to do, and we wanted to ensure that we had a plan in place so that we could do the things that we need to do together as it pertains to digital equity. So back at the top of the summer, which seems like a blur, like I don't remember anything about it because we were moving so fast and doing so many things and meeting so many people. But back in June through July, we launched what we were calling phase 1 of our outreach and engagement around digital equity. We went out into communities, we launched a survey, we had community conversations so that we could learn more about people's lived experiences and allow folks to presence their voice in the space around digital equity in your particular community, because Cook County is large and vast, and we have a very diverse population of residents that live in Cook County, and we wanted to ensure that everyone had equitable opportunity to share. So we hosted 12 community conversations, and we engaged 225 in-person community members, and we had over 3,000 survey takers. Now we are moving into phase 2. So we took all of the things that we learned from speaking with some of y'all and engaging with you and taking information from the surveys and through some interviews. And we've turned that into what will be our inaugural Digital Equity Action Plan, which will launch on Monday, October the 2nd, which is the first day of Digital Inclusion Week. After the plan launches, we're going to do some socialization of the plan in communities. We want community feedback. We want to ensure that how we've presented this information and this body of work works for you, because if it don't work for you in community, it don't work. So we're going to socialize it and get some feedback, and then start actually implementing the plan alongside community. It's really important that I highlight the words alongside community. This is a Cook County plan, but without you being present and participating in the activities of the plan, making recommendations, helping us to create our digital equity ecosystem, then it's just not going to work. So we are implementing the plan alongside with community, because we know that all things are greater when we do it together. So, and we're driving towards the goal of bringing resources to communities that are most impacted to achieve digital accessibility. That's really what our goal is. We're building our digital equity ecosystem, and we're trying to bring resources into those places and spaces to address those gap areas. So for those who are new to me, new to my team, and maybe even new to this concept of digital equity, we always take time and make space to talk about how we define digital equity and inclusion. So digital equity means that all individuals and communities have the technology skills and resources needed for full participation in our society, democracy, and economy. And then digital inclusion has three buckets of areas of focus around how you ensure that you're being digitally inclusive. The first is affordable, quality, and reliable broadband internet service. I know we've talked a lot in these community conversations about places and spaces where the internet, the cost for internet is just too high. It's not reliable. It's not quality, and we want to ensure that our residents, excuse me, in Cook County have access to affordable, quality, and reliable broadband internet service. The second is around devices, so computers, laptops, and tablets, or anything digitally tool-based that you may need in order for you to actively participate in the digital economy and access digital services for yourself, for your household. And the last being accessibility to digital training. And we're looking at like free and low cost training, such as computer classes or maybe tech support for your devices. Because it's a lot of folks that we learned during our community conversations that have machines, devices, but they don't know how to maintenance them. So once something broke on it and there wasn't like a warranty or a person they could call, the machine just went out of commission. And so we want to ensure that we're empowering our residents to have access to those resources. So every device that you have access to in your home or otherwise is working optimally. So how we got all of this data and how we ended up in the places and spaces that we visited this summer was based on data. We used the American Community Survey information to identify our top 30 least connected community areas. These are places that have no or low access to internet, whether it's through a public Wi-Fi or maybe there's no ISP specifically tied to your community. Maybe you don't have a device and maybe your phone is the only way that you're able to connect to the internet. And we created our own Cook County Internet Equity Map, which created an Internet Equity Score. So we looked at things like, are there children in the home, or housing burden costs, things of that nature that would impact one's ability to access the internet. And we identified these communities, and then we sought some champions in these communities to help us to be able to spread the word about digital equity in Cook County through our surveys and through the community conversations. And we had an amazing group of champions. For those who are on the call, who participated as a digital equity guiding team member, just note yourself in the chat so people can know that you're present as well. But they were amazing, and we wouldn't have been able to make it this far without their participation and without feedback from some of you who participated in those process activities. And so we are preparing for an opportunity, and that's partly true. In 2019, prior to the pandemic happening, President Winkle had already prioritized digital equity. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened, and that derailed a little bit of the plans because our primary focus was keeping our residents safe. But now that we are post-pandemic, we have reprioritized digital equity, and that part of that prioritization was hiring me and bringing me on board, and helping to bring others on board as we continue to advance digital equity goals. But there is an opportunity that is coming. $48 billion from the federal government was designated for digital equity initiatives starting in 2024. And our plan and all of our planning activities are helpful in us being the most prepared for the allocation and reception of funds that are going to be coming into the county, and to ensure that we have a strategic plan in place to drive where those funds end up and land, and ensure that we're using them as efficiently and as effectively as possible. So again, that community survey data and all of the community conversations that we had, all of that is setting the basis for those investment opportunities that are coming. So as I said, I'm super excited. I'm super tired, but I'm super excited because our first ever inaugural digital equity action plan for Cook County will be released on October the 2nd. This is the front page of that plan. We're going to be planning a press release and a press conference the afternoon, of October 2nd with President Winkle. And at the board meeting for September, we are actually passing a county resolution acknowledging the first week of October as Digital Inclusion Week. So I wanted to share that because it shows that our county and our county's leadership is committed to digital equity in Cook County. We are putting all of the resources and support in place to do our level best to address those gaps that we know exist out there in our county. And up next is Digital Inclusion Week. Jill, is this me or is this you?
I'll take it. I'll take it from here. Thanks, Kyla. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Jill Gottfried-Sahoni with Circle Root Collaborative. I have the honor of working with Kyla and Landon and Felipe and some of the others on this call to help with organize some of the events and happenings around Digital Inclusion Week. This is a very exciting week that is national. So it's sponsored by the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, which is a terrific organization based in DC that helps to organize its affiliates around the country to really bring folks together to raise awareness, recognition, and celebrate some of the work that's happening around digital inclusion. So I'm going to share a bit more about what this has looked like in the past and around the country, and then we'll specifically talk about what it's shaping up to look like in Cook County and how you can get involved. So again, a way to celebrate progress, raise awareness, gain supporters. This is an event that happened in Portland in 2022. And this is a growing week. So I think it's been going for a few years now. Last year, there were 238 participating organizations around the country. This year, there's a national goal to make it 500, which we'd like to think that Cook County is one of the biggest, most diverse, most robust counties in the country. And we can play a really big role in helping the national movement meet this goal. So here are some ways in which the county is taking action, and we invite you all to take action as well. So the first is social media. So we want to create a buzz around social media to let people know that this is an organized movement, especially in light of what Kyla was sharing around the federal resources coming to this issue, to the equity imperative to ensure that people who have historically not had access now have gained access, and to celebrate the plan that's coming locally. So there's a couple hashtags, DIW 2023, which we were hoping to make viral, and then a local one, Cook County DIW, as well. We, as Kyla mentioned, the county has issued an official, it's actually a resolution, not a proclamation, but a resolution to make it institutionalized in the county that this is a week that we will honor and celebrate, and more importantly, continue to invest in, because that is really what we're trying to do. When we raise awareness, we want to make sure there are resources and initiatives that are driving towards closing the digital divide. And the last action, which is what we're going to spend most of our time talking about today, is events. So we want this to be a really community-driven week where there are events, trainings, participation in communities, particularly communities most impacted, but particularly for people who have historically needed the support or have been disincluded. So we will talk more about what that looks like. But we really, again, are excited to partner with y'all on hosting these events in communities so that people are actually benefiting and we're not just having centralized events where people cannot participate. I think pictures tell a great story. You can see in these pictures, there's people in circle, there's people learning, there's people listening, there's panels. So these are just some images of what people have done in years past. This is also an opportunity to get some press attention. So the county is doing its part to make sure that the press is aware of this, and Cook County president will be at certain events and speaking to bring more light and attention to this week. And this has definitely been something that's happened around the country and hoping to do in Cook County. Local governments are taking action similar to how Kyla and the county are, but this is, again, something that's happening around the country. We're trying to get our private sector involved. So if you have relationships with local companies, this is another way for local companies to give back, donate, partner with y'all on hosting events. For example, ComEd is partnering on hosting an event on the west side. It really is going to take all sectors to make this a reality. I will also put a link in the chat to the National Digital Inclusion Alliance website. There's a lot of resources if you want to learn how to host an affordable connectivity outreach event. There's actually a toolkit on their website that can help you do that. There's an advocacy toolkit, there's outreach toolkit, there's a ton of resources. So we'll make sure you all have that in the chat, and then we'll send a follow-up email with that link as well. Okay, so let's talk about Cook County and what this is going to look like. You'll see here a flyer. We again want to see events happening across suburban Cook County that help to call attention and raise awareness of this terrific opportunity. So these could be computer trainings. These could be public. Let's say you have a computer lab that's open to the public, or you have office hours or tech support for community. Device distribution and donation events, so CompuDopt, PCs for People, for example, or organizations to partner with. We also have the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is an opportunity to sign more people up for internet, for subsidized internet from the federal government. And again, these are just some examples of the types of events we're hoping people can host. what happens if you do host? Well, one, you're just helping to join this movement to raise awareness in Cook County about this really important issue. We also will feature events on the county's website, and also the president's newsletter will go out to, I imagine, a very large group of citizens who will see your training on her newsletter. We also are in the process of getting t-shirts and goodies and swag to share with our partners to give out at your community events. And there's also an opportunity to apply for a stipend. Many of you all are registering events that you do regularly anyway, which is great, and we want you to do that. If you're an organization that, this is a little outside your wheelhouse, you may need a little financial support, we do have some funds available to apply for. We have a form that we are hoping, which we can link to as well, where we're hoping that folks can register their event by September 19th. So we don't have a ton of time, but we do have, a good, a window here to register your event using a simple form that we will share in the chat and also in a follow-up email as well. Again, just reiterating what I shared, these are some of the types of events and what hosts can have the opportunity to receive. I'm excited to share that we already have 17 events registered. So thanks to y'all if you have registered your event already, but I wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration about what's coming for Digital Inclusion Week. So as Kyla mentioned, there will be a press conference on the 2nd announcing the Digital Equity Action Plan. But look at our libraries. Our libraries are showing up and showing out. These are events that are being hosted in communities by our librarians and staff. Markham Library is partnering with ComputeOpt to distribute devices to community members, which is a great opportunity. Oak Lawn has kind of like a tech help hours for communities, as well as a Create with Canva training, which I would actually like to attend because I'm working on my Canva skills. Online cooking class from Flossmoor, empowerment for older adults in Forest Park. Schaumburg, our Northwest partners, are working with seniors to support them in navigating their iPhone and iPad. Evergreen Park Tech, they have computers and technology that they're lending out to community members. So again, these are already on the calendar, and we invite you all to join them. And again, this is the form. It's fairly simple, where you can register the details of your event, and that will get it on our list to then put on the county website and to continue to share across the county. We also, again, as you're hosting your event, we hope that you will take pictures of your event, post on social media using the hashtags DIW 2023 and Cook County DIW, and then repost what the county is posting about this. Again, pictures say a lot, and we'd love to create a storied week that features your pictures and the impact you're having at these events. One final thing, I'll turn it over to Felipe to talk a bit more about how we're going to track our impact.
Hey folks, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm part of the project team. You know the saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound? All right. Y'all are doing the work. Y'all are making an impact. Y'all are doing digital inclusion. Let's celebrate. So when you do all the good work you're gonna do, we'll send out like a 3-minute, 3-question form just afterwards, so that we can capture what you did, we can gather what you did, and we can celebrate the impact that together we made. So just a little heads up, just so it doesn't catch you off guard after the fact. Again, the goal really is to celebrate the work that you're doing. And by the way, to advocate for continued investment in expanding the work that you're doing. So it'll come. thank you in advance for paying attention to that little thing in your inbox after you think you're all done.
All right, we've talked a lot. Now we'd love to hear from you all. If you have any questions, you can welcome to take yourself off of mute and just share with the group any questions. Or if you have ideas that are brewing and you want to share it with the group, that's also welcome. You can also use the chat box as well. Kate, I love what you wrote in the chat. That's actually really great to know.
And this is Kate again. I actually have a question. So we have stuff that we have scheduled that we'll put into the form. But one of the things that we're typically planning 4 to 6 months out. So it's helpful for me to know right now, is this going to be something that Cook County is planning to do annually, because I can then have my staff be more deliberate, much like Money Smart Week and, National Poetry Week and Banned Books Week and all of the other things. If we can incorporate it into our regular program planning, it makes it a lot easier. Like, we can't pivot that quickly to add a bunch of stuff at the last minute like this. And then it gets into our regular marketing and we can have more focused marketing around it. So is this something we can plan on for next year? Because we'll put what we're doing this year, but then I can make sure my programming staff are focusing on that in for 2024.
Great question, and thank you for asking it, Kate. Yes, every year we will acknowledge Digital Inclusion Week. That's the reason why we did the resolution stating that the first business week of October is Digital Inclusion Week, to ensure that we here at Cook County government, as well as our residents, businesses, institutions, libraries, that we all can celebrate together all the good work that we're going to be doing together, and the good work that you're already doing. So yes, please add it to your calendar, and I would love to be able to participate in your activities as well. So if you got good stuff going on and time permits, I would love to be able to attend those events.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I'll make sure to pass this on. And I'm presuming I missed the first couple of minutes that the recording is going to be shared so I can share with staff. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
Any other questions? Is there questions about a type of event, or are you thinking about an event and need some support or some assistance? This is the time to ask so that we can help. And thank you for all of you who've already completed the forms and submitted your events and your activities. Any other questions? All right, I think we solved all of the DIW problems. So if you have any other questions that you come up with, or just want to connect with me, generally speaking, here is our contact information. Again, we will share a copy of this presentation as well as the recording when we're done today. You can reach out to us and we'll do our best to answer your questions rather. And with that, if there's no other questions, see you during Digital Inclusion Week 2023, October 2nd through the 6th. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks all.